What's up guys, Funape here, and I cannot believe how many subscribers that I've gotten now. 77 is a great number. I hope we manage to make it to 80 this year, and maybe make it to 100. I know a guy can dream, but I'm sure it can be possible. I haven't seen this video done by too many YouTubers, so I thought I'd give it a go. I'm going to rank all of the Pokemon types from worst to best, and mention which is my favourite Pokemon from that certain type. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below what your favourite type is, and what your favourite Pokemon is from that certain type, and if you think I missed out a Pokemon, let me know down in the comment section. Just so you know, all of this is just my opinion, and you're free to have your own. So without further ado, let's get into the video! Okay, I'm going to start with my least favourite type, and my least favourite type is the Bug type. Now the main reason I put the Bug type as my least favourite type is mainly because there has so many cons rather than pros. Like, some bug types do have really big pros. Like, some have, some are really good and competitive, some have really good designs, and some even have some amazing moves, like Mega Horn. However, there's just so many cons with them. Like, they're weak to fire and rock types, and they're also weak to flying types. There are, I think there are some other types that it's weak to, but those are the more obvious ones. And, I'm not really that fond of too many bug types in the games. Bug types are only good against 3 types, which are Grass, Psychic, and Dark. However, it also is weak to 3 types, like I said, which are Fire, Rock, and Flying. And it's not very effective against Fire, Fighting, Poison, Flying, Ghost, Seal, and Fairy. So, bug types aren't really that useful unless you're, a Mega Beedrill or something like that. There are some shining stars when it comes to bug types, but it's only because they have a secondary typing with it. So, I guess, as long as it has a good second typing, bug types can be really useful, or if it has a Mega Evolution, that'd be even better. However, if you're a pure bug type, you can't really do much. Now, with all the negatives out of the way, let me get into my favourite bug-type Pokemon. Believe it or not, my favourite bug-type Pokemon is actually in Gen 5, which, if you didn't know, is my least favourite generation of Pokemon. There are some really bad Pokemon in Gen 5, like the majority of it is bad. However, there are some good Gen 5 Pokemon, and my favourite bug-type Pokemon is one of them. And that is Volcarona. Oh my god, guys, I love Volcarona. Now, I've never used one in a playthrough, mainly because A, you get it really late in a playthrough, and B, it takes ages to evolve. Like, when you get a Larvesta, you have to evolve it when it gets to level 59. So, it's a real pain to level up as well, but it is very rewarding when you finally get your Volcarona. Because A, it's a monster, and 2, it's a monster in competitive as well. Volcarona is in the OU tier in Smogon, which is the highest tier, other than banned Pokemon. But if you want a great Volcarona, I highly recommend you give it the timid nature, max out its special attack, its speed, and its special defense. Oh well, you can't really max out special defense, but you can put a little bit in there. And then give it the moves Quiver Dance, Flamethrower, Bug Buzz, and Roost. And then give it the Bugginium Z. That way, it can dominate any Pokemon on the field. Well, other than Rock-type Pokemon, but still, it is mainly there to be a sweeper. In 17th place, we have the Ice-type. Now, this is definitely by my experience, not many people are a big fan of Ice-types. So, I like Ice-types, they're okay. I use them sometimes in a playthrough, but I don't really use them in competitive because there aren't too many good Ice-type Pokemon that are really good and competitive. Ice-types are really good when you need to take down Grass, Ground, Flying, and Dragon types, but they're not that great. There are some really good Ice-type Pokemon, but the majority of them are pretty crap, to be honest with you. Like, there are so many good Pokemon that can help you in a playthrough. For example, Weavile, Lapras, and Abomasnow. And there are some that aren't really that good. For instance, Avalugg. Like, how many people actually like this thing? I know 0 people that actually like Avalugg. I think the only way to make an ice type good is just like with the bug type. You need a secondary typing. Like, if you so for instance, Weavile, it's an amazing ice type Pokemon, but it's also got the dark type. Lapras also has a water type in it. Abomasnow has a grass type in it. So the only way to make an ice type good is to have a secondary typing. But that doesn't mean that I don't like some other ice types. I like quite a few of them. For all the 3 others I mentioned, I really like Weavile, Lapras, and Abomasnow. I like all 3 of them. But it doesn't compare to my favourite ice type Pokemon. That is Walrein. Now, you're never going to find Walrein in competitive because it's so weak now, it's untiered. Like, that is pretty bad. But that doesn't mean that I don't love Walrein, because I really, really do. Like, I actually found a shiny Celio while I was Dexnav hunting on my first go, even though I wasn't even shiny hunting for it. And ever since then, I really, really liked it. Like, it's not my favourite shiny in the world, because all they did was swap the blue for the pink. And I don't really like pink Pokemon, but I do really, really like my shiny Walrein, because I made it into quite a bulky Pokemon. I know a few people that nickname Walrein Stallrein, because despite it being an Ice-type Pokemon, it is incredibly bulky, with great HP, special defense, and defense. Like, this thing could take anything that you can dish out back in Ruby and Sapphire, but nowadays in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, like even further on, it can pretty much be O-code. But that doesn't mean that I don't love Walrein, because I would love to have a Walrein in real life. Not only can Walrein take damage, it can dish it out at the same time, with great its attacks like Surf, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. It can easily handle all of the types that it's weak against. And with its Ice type, it can take down its Grass type weakness. And if you give it Earthquake, it can eliminate its Electric type weakness. So, to be honest, Walrein can be used in a playthrough, just not in competitive. Okay, in the 16th place, we actually have the newest type, which is the Fairy type. Now, when I actually first heard that they're going to bring out a Fairy type, I was like, what the hell? That is such lazy writing. You could have come up with a better name for a type like that. But over time, I did grow a little bit of respect to Fairy types, but not so much that I would put it in my top 5 or top 10 favourite types, because they're not the best types in the world, to be honest with you. Like, some of them are okay, but I didn't get the point of them just replacing some of the types with the Fairy types. Like, you know Gardevoir? It used to be a pure Psychic type, now it's a Psychic and Fairy type, which I don't get. They even made Clefable, instead of making it as a normal type, they made it a Fairy type. Like, they could have at least kept the normal type and added the Fairy type, but no, they decided to replace it altogether. But considering that the Fairy type is good against 3 types and it only has 2 weaknesses and 3 resistances, that is pretty good. Like, I would prefer if it had more resistances. Like, that would make it pretty good, but, you know, you can't have everything, can you? Now to get onto my favourite Fairy type. Now, to be honest with you, there aren't many Fairy types that I like. Like, I like the Tapus, I don't mind Gardevoir, I really like Sylveon. However, they don't compare to my favourite Fairy type, and that is Mawile. Now, I've got to be honest with you, when I first found out that Mawile was a thing, I wasn't entirely thrilled with its design. I thought it was just some sort of childish little girl that just had some sort of horn and jaws attached to its horn. However, I first liked Mawile when I found out how OP it was when it got a Mega Evolution. When Mawile Mega evolves, it gains the ability Huge Power, which doubles its attack stat. So say if you had a Mawile, say if you had a Mega Mawile, which has 400 attack stat, it will double into 800 attack stat. And not only that, it has incredible speed. So it can pretty much sweep with Play Rough, Iron Head, Sucker Punch, and Swords Dance. So that way, you can pretty much wreck your entire competition. Now, some of Mawile's drawbacks is probably its defense stats. But when you're so speedy like Mega Mawile and have great attack stats, who needs defense when you can just be destroyed with one hit? Okay, in 15th place, we have the normal type. Now, normal types, they're okay. They're not my absolute favourite in the world. There are some good ones, but the majority are pretty rubbish. In my opinion, the majority of good normal types usually have the flying type added to them. I'm talking about the regional birds, if you haven't figured it out yet. And there are some really bad normal types as well, such as Ozino, Watchog, and Chinchino. All of those normal types are awful. And there are so many other bad normal types out there, I can't even name them all. You aren't going to get too many powerful normal types in competitive. You can, but there aren't too many. Well, my favourite normal type is one that's really good at competitive. I do like some normal types. The only one I can think of at the top of my head other than my favourite is Porygon Z. But my favourite normal type can dominate anybody on the field, and that is Snorlax. Back in the day, I actually wasn't too fond of Snorlax. It was okay. I thought it was, I'm on the fence with Snorlax. It's okay. But when I got really into Snorlax was when I was making a powerful team in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and Snorlax was the MVP. Basically, it had the thick, fat ability and had the adamant nature, and it also gave it Return with Max Happiness, Crunch, Curse, and Giga Impact, and then gave it the Snorlium Z to wreck everybody on the field. Snorlax itself can learn a large variety of different moves, such as Return, Giga Impact, Crunch, High Horsepower, Wild Charge, Heavy Slam, Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, Focus Punch, and so many other moves. And that's why Snorlax is an absolute beast. Okay, next up we have the Steel type. Now, Steel types is definitely one of the bulkiest types of them all. Let me read off all of its resistances on my phone. We have Normal, Grass, Ice, Flying, Psychic, Bug, Rock, Dragon, Steel, and Fairy. Now, that is quite a lot. That's just so many resistances. I cannot think of any other type that has that many resistances. And there are so many awesome Steel types out there. Steel types do well against Ice, Rock, and Fairy types. However, there may not be too many good advantages, but there are some great Steel types out there. Some with great designs, some with awful designs. For instance, an awful design, Klefki. Who the bloody hell likes Klefki? The majority of the time, Steel types are just there so they can take every attack that you can make. But that doesn't mean that Steel types are really, really useful. Because when you need a Steel type, they can easily decimate all of your opponents. And my favourite Steel type can do that and more. And that is Metagross. I absolutely adore Metagross. It is just absolutely amazing. Nothing about it has a flaw in it. It has a great design, great power, a great shiny. I mean, what? I even have a great Mega Evolution. What more do you want? Metagross's shiny is easily one of my favourite shinies of all time. Ever since I saw it in the Diamond and Pearl anime, I have wanted one for such a long time. And after I first got one, I was over the moon. And its shiny Mega form is even more badass than its regular Mega form. I just adore Metagross. It is just so awesome. Not only is Metagross such a badass, it can also learn all sorts of different moves, such as Psychic, Zen Headbutt, Meteor Mash, Ice Punch, Earthquake, and Rock Slide. And that's not all, it can learn many other different moves. Like Hyper Beam and Giga Impact, for example. That is such an awesome moveset. And it can learn many more moves. And that is why Metagross is my favourite Steel type. Okay, in 13th place, we have the Poison type. Now, let's be honest, Pokemon fans, you didn't really care about the Poison types until the Fairy types came around. Let's be honest, I thought the same way. I didn't really care about Poison types until the Fairy types came around. And Poison types are very powerful ever since the Fairy types came around. There are so many great Poison type moves, such as Poison Jab, Sludge Bomb, Poison Fang, Cross Poison, and Gunk Shot. That's not even all. There's many more different Poison type moves that are definitely a great asset to your Pokemon. Poison types weren't that useful unless you're playing Gen 6 or Gen 4. If you wonder why I'm saying Gen 4, because Drapion. Drapion is just awesome. But there are many other Poison types that are great as well. Not only a Drapion, but there's also many different Poison types that are great, such as Toxicroak and many different more. But my favourite Poison type Pokemon can outdo them all, and that is Naganadel. Naganadel is my favourite Ultra Beast. I don't really like Ultra Beast, just like him and JCV. Me and him have the same thing in common. We don't like Ultra Beast apart from Poipole and Naganadel. And it's no surprise why. Naganadel is such an OP Ultra Beast. It is the only Ultra Beast, actually no, that's a lie. There's Pheromosa, but still. It is one of the few Ultra Beasts that's actually in the Uber tier. And I can see why. It is a monster! And not only that, Naganadel has such an awesome shiny form. If you haven't seen it, it looks like a mutant bee. It is such an awesome design. I once tried to shiny hunt it legitimately in my game, but after realising that gift Pokemon aren't affected by the shiny charm, I thought, nah, I give up. But one day, I found this when I was on my phone. Wait, what? There's a shiny Poipole event? What? And after hearing that, I had actually managed to get a shiny Poipole. And I actually got two, actually, and they were both with the Modest Nature. And I kept one as a Poipole and evolved one into Naganadel. And I love my shiny Naganadel. It is such an awesome Pokemon and probably one of my favourite shiny Pokemon of all time. Not only does Naganadel have a great shiny, it has a great move pool. It's not limited to this, but these are some of the highlights. Dragon Pulse, Nasty Plot, Sludge Bomb. Oh, there's many more. Flamethrower. There's just so many moves that it can learn that can help you dominate through a playthrough or in competitive. Coming in 12th place, we have the Flying type. Now, there are quite a lot of good flying types, such as Pidgeot, Fearow, Dodrio. However, there are some really awful ones, such as Farfetch. Who the hell likes Farfetch? And not many flying types are actually good and competitive. There are some that are good, but there are some. The majority of them aren't that good in competitive. However, there are so many good flying types that would help you in a playthrough easily. Like Talonflame, for example, that would be good in a playthrough. Pidgeot, Fearow, Fearow is really good in both Gen 1 and Gen 2, so I highly recommend you use those in a playthrough. There are so many good flying types. One of my all-time favourites was actually Staraptor for a time, but after a while I grew to like a different flying type. Flying types have 3 advantages. Basically, it's good against 3 types, but it's also bad against 3 other types, and the types that it's good against, it can resist their moves. So flying types aren't usually that good in that respect. However, there are some awesome flying type Pokemon, and I definitely say my favourite flying types is easily Togekiss. I absolutely adore Togekiss. It is such an awesome Pokemon. It's good and competitive, it was portrayed in the anime very well, and not only that, it made it look like it was an absolute monster of a Pokemon. If you get a Togekiss with its ability Serene Grace, it will pretty much flinch every single time that you hit it. And if you also give it Thunder Wave, it'll pretty much end your Pokemon before the battle even starts. Togekiss is just an amazing Pokemon with a wide variety of moves, including Air Slash, Dazzling Gleam, Aura Sphere, and Thunder Wave, and just so many other amazing attacks. And that's why Togekiss had to be my favourite flying type of all. In 11th place, we have the Rock type. I've got to say, Rock type isn't usually the most popular type out of all of them, with 4 types it's good against, and 5 types that it's bad against. It's bad against Water, Grass, Fighting, Ground, and Steel. For a while it was also bad against Ice, but they changed it in Gen 7 I think it was, which I thought was stupid, but I guess they decided to make it strong against Ice types. Rock types come in 2 packages. They're either a bulky Pokemon that can take attacks but can't really dish them out, or they can be really good attackers but can't really take an attack. So they're either a bulky wall or a glass cannon. Either or, they're not exactly the best Pokemon to use in competitive, but you could use them in a playthrough if you use the right moveset, right stats, and, depending on which region you're playing. Funny enough, my favourite Rock-type Pokemon is not only Glass Cannon, but it's also one of those Ash exclusives Pokemon. If you haven't figured it out already, my favourite Rock-type is Dusk Form Lycanroc. I've always wondered what would happen if they combined the midday and the midnight form. And finally, they did. And I was so happy with the result. It is an amazing design, and it's, in my opinion, more powerful than both the midday and the midnight form. Let me read off some of the best moves that Lycanroc can learn, because there are so many, I can't even remember them all by heart. Accelerock, Counter, Stone Edge, Crunch, Crush Claw, Fire Fang, Thunder Fang, Drill Run, Iron Head, Outrage, Zen Headbutt, Swords Dance, Brick Break, Rock Slide, and many, many more. This thing is an absolute monster. But I'd highly recommend that you get one with Stone Edge, Swords Dance, Zen Headbutt, and maybe Drill Run, since that way it can counter pretty much all of its weaknesses. But I'm afraid getting one isn't exactly easy because the event has passed many, many years ago. But if you do want one, hit me up and I will breeze my Dusk Form Lycanroc, so that way you can get your own Dusk Form Lycanroc. Now it's time to get into the top 10. At number 10 we have the Ghost type. Now Ghost types are quite intriguing to me. They can either be a glass cannon, like Gengar, or they can be really bulky and physically offensive, like Dusknoir, for example. Ghost types are good against 2 types, they're weak against 2 types, they have 2 immunities, and they're also quite good against 2 other types. Basically, poison and bug type moves will not harm them in the slightest. Like, ghost types can be like the MVP of your team if you know how to use them. And I definitely think that this ghost type that I have picked is one of the best of them all. It's also got a bit of a love-hate relationship. You either love it because of how OP it is, or you either hate it because you hate it's either the design or getting crushed by it. And I'm obviously talking about Aegislash. If you have never fought an Aegislash before, then consider yourself lucky. Because if you do, you will either defeat it quite easily, or you'll be defeated by it very easily. Aegislash has an OP ability called Stance Change, which means it can either be an all-out attacking demon or a bulky defensive wall, which means you cannot predict how the battle is going to turn out with an Aegislash on your side. And not only that, it can learn a large variety of OP attacks. Let me read off some of its best attacks. We've got Head Smash, Iron Head, King Shield, Night Slash, Sacred Sword, Shadow Sneak. Hold on, there's more. Shadow Ball, Brick Break, Aerial Ace, Giga Impact, and Rock Slide and Flash Cannon. All of those moves are extremely deadly when put on an Aegislash. Aegislash walked its way into my heart when I found a shiny Aegislash on my first egg, and I wasn't even Masuda method hunting for it. That for me was absolutely amazing. That was my favourite moment back in last year, and I absolutely adore it. I still have it, and I absolutely adore that thing. Very few people have ever taken it down, and I cannot believe that I actually found it on my first attempt of an egg. At number 9, we have the Fighting type. Now, Fighting types, pretty much only have one role. They're pure physical strength. There might be a couple special attacking, fighting types, but the majority of the time, they're showing off their pure raw strength. Fighting types have 5 types that they're really good against, 3 weaknesses, 3 not immunities. They can resist 3 types, and fighting moves don't do anything on ghost types. But say if you're using a Hariyama and you have knockoff, that is a pretty powerful attack. Most of the time, the fighting types mainly use their pure raw strength, and they can even learn attacks that can easily take down types that are weak against. I know that there are so many Pokemon that can learn moves that they're really good against the types they're weak against, but I think fighting types get the better end of the stick. Now, there are many good fighting types out there, such as Machamp, Poliwrath, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, and many others. However, my favourite fighting type is one of the OP megas in the entire game, and it is Lucario. The first time I ever saw a Lucario was Maylene's Lucario in the Pokémon anime, and ever since I saw it, I wanted one. And when I first played Pokemon Pearl, I actually picked up the Riolu egg and then eventually evolved it into Lucario. And it was an absolute monster of a Pokemon. There is no flaw in Lucario. It has an epic design, a great shiny, a mega evolution, and OP power in competitive and playthrough. Let me read off some of Lucario's best attacks. We've got Aura Sphere, Close Combat, Dragon Pulse. We've got Cross Chop, Bullet Punch, Blaze Kick, High Jump Kick, Meteor Mash, Sky Uppercut, Vacuum Wave, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. There's just so many great attacks. It can even learn some of these good attacks. Earthquake, Return, Sidekick, and Shadow Ball. Like even Shadow Claw, Poison Jab, Rock Slide. There's just so many OP attacks that Lucario can learn. And when Lucario got a Mega Evolution, it became so ridiculously overpowered that it went into banned competitive play. That's how powerful this thing is. And it's all because of one ability, Adaptability, which powers up the moves that has the same typing. So say if Lucario used either Meteor Mash or Aura Sphere, they would get a major power boost. And since it's already the same type it even get even further powered up. So that means Lucario can pretty much sweep through your entire team. At number 8, we have the Psychic type. Now the Psychic type isn't the best type in the world, but they do have some pretty good Psychic types. It has 2 advantages, 3 weaknesses, and it also has 2 resistances. So that means it's a pretty powerful type. Well, the Psychic type mainly specialises in their special attack, but there are like a couple of physical Psychic types. The main one that comes to mind is Gallade, but still, the Psychic type is probably one of the best types. Not only is the Psychic type a pretty good type, it also there's so many gym leaders and Elite Four members that specialise in the Psychic type. My personal favourite is probably Sabrina, because she actually pushed me to my edge when it came into fighting her in her gym in Pokemon Yellow, because her Alakazam is pretty powerful. Well, to be honest with you, all Alakazam were powerful in Gen 1 because it basically had no weaknesses. Now, there are many good Psychic types out there, such as Alolan Raichu, Slowbro, Exeggutor, Mewtwo, and maybe Delphox. But still, there is one Psychic type that I love above all, and it's the original OP Psychic type Pokemon, Alakazam. No matter which generation you play, Alakazam can be a major threat. Like, with its OP moves, Psychic Focus Blast and Shadow Ball, it can pretty much take you out and cover almost all of its weaknesses. This thing can be an absolute annoyer when you're facing it in a playthrough. I'm not surprised why so many Psychic type masters in the game like to use Alakazam. With that high special attack and speed, it can pretty much knock you out before you even begin the battle. But it is a glass cannon, so if you hit it with a physical attack that's super effective, it will go down. But still, I've used Alakazam in many different playthroughs, and it was extremely useful in every single one of them. Its design may not be the greatest, but still, I don't care, I love Alakazam. At number 7, we have one of the weakest types in the game, by quite a few different people's opinion, including mine, and it is the Grass type. Now, Grass types can be useful, like, some can, some can't. Like, a big example of Grass type Pokemon that is useless is Meganium, Sunflora, and Chestnut. But still, there are many different Grass type Pokemon that can be useful as long as they have the secondary typing. The main reason Grass types is considered one of the worst types in the game is because it has 5 types that it's bad against. It's weak to fire types, ice types, poison types, flying types, and bug types. That's 5 weaknesses, and those Pokemon, all of them are quite common in the game. You'll eventually come across so many trainers that have these certain Pokemon that can take down your Grass type Pokemon. So Grass type isn't the best type to have in your party, but by all means, if you want to use a Grass type, use one. There aren't too many Grass type Pokemon that are actually high and competitive. I do quite like quite a few Grass types. There's Breloom, Sceptile, Torterra. Torterra's really cool. And there's also quite a few Grass types that I hate. Mainly Superior. If you've been around my channel quite a while, you'll know that I hate Superior. However, there is one grass type that I absolutely adore, and it is Venusaur. I know that Venusaur is the least popular of the Kanto starters, but I don't understand why. It's a great design, great in a playthrough, and has an OP Mega. When it Mega evolves, it goes from a base stat of 525 to 625, and it becomes a bulky special attacker, which can be very, very useful in a playthrough and competitive. I'm going to read off some of Venusaur's best attacks. Let's see, we've got Petal Blizzard, Solar Beam, Petal Dance, Leaf Storm, there's Power Whip, Sludge Bomb, Frenzy Plant, let's see, Earthquake, Swords Dance, and Giga Impact, and Energy Ball, even Grass Knot. That is a large variety of great attacks. I don't understand why Venusaur isn't more popular. I really, really love Venusaur. For a while, Bulbasaur, from when I was younger, was actually my favourite Pokemon. It's so adorable. I don't know how people hate it. It's so cute. Not only that, one time when I was playing Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I actually found a shiny Bulbasaur when I was island scanning, even though I wasn't shiny hunting for one. I mean, I don't see what the problem is. It has an amazing shiny as well. I love Venusaur, and no one can take it away from me. At number 6, we have the Ground type. Now, I really like the majority of Ground type Pokemon. Quite a lot of them also have the added bonus of Rock type, but that's still okay. I really, really like Ground types. They're just pretty powerful. Have you ever seen a Ground type that wasn't powerful? Ground types are really good against 5 types. Fire types, electric types, poison types, rock types, and steel types. If you're in a pinch and there's an electric type on the field, you definitely need to have a ground type on hand just in case there is an electric type. It may have 3 weaknesses, but that's still only a couple compared to types like the bug type and the grass type. I really like ground types. Ground types do have pretty good designs, such as Rhyperior, Excadrill, Crocodile. There's so many well-designed ground-type Pokemon. However, my favourite ground type has the best design of them all, and it is Gliscor. I never thought that as a cross between a vampire bat and a scorpion would look so cool. But then they brought out Gliscor, which was very needed and when Gligar definitely looked like it should have evolved from Gen 2. But I'm glad that they added Gliscor to Gen 4 because Gliscor is definitely an OP Pokemon and a well-designed Pokemon at that. Gliscor may have a 4 times weakness to Ice. However, if you give it a move that is great against Ice types such as Fire Fang or Stone Edge, or maybe even Iron Tail or Steel Wing, those moves can easily counteract its weakness to Ice types. And if you want a move that's good against Water types, give it Thunder Fang. There are so many moves that can easily take out Gliscor's weaknesses. It's unbelievable. I absolutely adore Gliscor in the anime and in the games. I even found one with its hidden ability, and it helps me so much in the battle tree in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I cannot even put it into words. Some of Gliscor's best attacks are the Elemental Fangs, Poison Jab, Night Slash, U-Turn, X-Scissor, Sky Uppercut, Swords Dance, Cross Poison, Double Edge, Metal Claw, Night Slash, Poison Tail. There's even Aqua Tail, Iron Tail, Earth Power, Knockoff, Sky Attack, Throat Chop. There's so many. Here's some good TN moves: Earthquake, Brick Break, Sludge Bomb, Steel Wing, Stone Edge, Poison Jab. Dark Pulse. There's just so many good attacks for a Gliscor, and I highly recommend that you use it in a playthrough or competitive, because Gliscor will be your saviour. At number 5, we actually have the only type that doesn't have a gym leader, which I really want to happen, and it is the Dark type. Now, Dark types to me are quite interesting. Like, they use sneaky tactics to win. It doesn't have its own gym, and it does have like some Elite Four members, but there's not many. Like, I really want to see what they can do with a Dark type gym. Dark types have 2 types that that's really good against, and 3 types that it's really bad against. It has 1 immunity, and it can take a Ghost and Dark type hits. Like, Dark types usually are quite evil looking and quite menacing, but that's what really pulls me in. Like, they are a pretty good types. Like, they can be bulky like Umbreon, but they can also be really powerful sweepers like Tyranitar, for example. But my favourite Dark type is gotta be one of the best Dark types ever, and it's also probably the most popular Dark type, and that is Darkrai. Now, Darkrai may not have good HP, attack, or either of the defenses, but with an OP special attack and OP speed, who the bloody hell needs it? And it's also got an amazing design, a great backstory in the films, and it's just such a menacing Pokemon. Darkrai can be the stuff of nightmares, not only in the anime, but in the games as well. Like, its Pokédex entry reads, Folklore has it that on moonless nights, this Pokemon will make people see horrific nightmares. Like, it can also make you have nightmares when you lose against it in battle, because this thing can wreck you with Dark Void, Dream Eater, and Dark Pulse alone. Not only can it learn those 3 moves, it can also learn Nasty Plot, Drain Punch, Focus Punch, Foul Play, Icy Wind, Throat Chop, Psychic, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Brick Break, Sludge Bomb, Aerial Ace, Focus Blast, Shadow Claw, and Swords Dance, Poison Jab, and there's just so many. The list can go on and on and on. Like, Darkrai to me is what a perfect Pokemon is. It's well designed, very powerful, and can learn a large variety of attacks. At number 4, we have the Electric type. Now, to me, Electric types are quite interesting. Like, they're not usually the bulkiest. Like, most of the time, they're either fast special sweepers, like Manectric or Raichu, or they can be a physical, such as Luxray or Electivire. However, a physical Electric type doesn't really do the job. But other than that, Electric types are pretty powerful if you know how to use them. Not only are Electric types pretty powerful, they also only have 1 weakness, and it's also as it's the same as its immunity. It's the ground type. But still, it can be the saviour of your team if you pick the right Electric type Pokemon. Like, some of the best ones, in my own opinion, is Thundurus, Luxray, Electivire, and many, many more. Like, even Manectric. Like, there are so many good Electric-type Pokemon out there. But my personal favourite is Tapu Koko. Everything about Tapu Koko just screams awesome to me. It has a great design, amazing backstory, amazing power, and an amazing shiny. Like, I do have a shiny Tapu Koko, and it is absolutely godly. And it also has godly attacks and godly stats to boot. Tapu Koko is also one of my other members of my Ultimate team. Like, it is pretty powerful with its great physical and special attack and amazing speed. And it only has 2 weaknesses. And it also can learn a large variety of OP attacks. Let me read some of them off. We have Brave Bird, we've got Thunderbolt, Electro Ball, Discharge, Nature's Madness. Well, Nature's Madness isn't great, but whatever. We have Iron Head, we have Thunder Punch, Hyper Beam, Thunderbolt, Thunder. We have Volt Switch, Giga Impact, Thunder Wave, Wild Charge, Dazzling Gleam, Steel Wing, Facade, and even Aerial Ace and Thief. Like, those are some amazing attacks. I really love using Tapu Koko. It has taken down a large variety of my opponents. And I definitely think that you guys should use Tapu Koko in competitive, if you have a Pokemon game. Okay, we're now in the top 3. If you guys have been around my channel for quite a long time, I'm sure you'll be able to predict which 3 are going to be in which order. But, well, for the newbies, number 3 is the Water type. Now, Water type is pretty damn good. It's the most common type. There are, hold on, 143 Water-type Pokemon. That is absolutely unbelievable. I definitely think that Water types can be extremely useful in a competitive and in a playthrough. Mainly in a playthrough because you need a Pokemon to surf around. Electric types have 3 advantages, 2 types that it's weak against, and 4 resistances. That is pretty good if you ask me, and some water types can actually be OP as hell, such as Greninja, Mega Gyarados, Swampert, and there are many more. Even Milotic can be useful if you give it the right moveset, but my personal favourite water type, if you haven't guessed by now, is also my second favourite favourite Pokemon of them all, and it is Ash Greninja. When a Greninja transforms into Ash Greninja, its base stats get a major rise from 530 to 640. And it also has godly stats to back it up. With only 3 weaknesses, it can learn moves and very overpowered moves that can counteract all of its weaknesses. And to me, that is pretty unbelievable. If you want an Ash Greninja, I'm not sure if it's too late or not, but you can guess it from the Pokemon Sun and Moon demo, where you actually use an Ash Greninja, and then you can transfer it over to Sun and Moon. Fair warning though, you can only use it once, so when you use it, make it count. Greninja can learn all sorts of OP attacks, such as, let's see, Water Shuriken, Matlock, Feint Attack, Hydro Pump, Night Slash, Power Up Punch, Gunk Shot, Bounce, Ice Punch, Icy Wind, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Hyper Beam, Rain Dance, Aerial Ace, Thief, Scald, Brutal Swing, Acrobatics, Giga Impact, Rock Slide, Grass Knot, Substitute, Surf, Dark Pulse, and Waterfall. That is such a large variety of attacks. I really love using Ash Greninja. It's definitely the OP of OP Pokemon in my ultimate team. If you want a great Ash Greninja, Modest Nature with the Life Orb, and EV Train it in Special Attack and Speed, then give it the moves Dark Pulse, Hydro Pump, Water Shuriken, and Ice Beam. That will wreck all of the Pokemon on the field. And number 2, we have the Dragon type. The type that is so powerful and also a major pain to use, mainly because it's a pain to level them up. If you didn't know, it has a very slow level up ratio. Dragon types only do super effective damage on each other, and Dragon types also have 3 weaknesses, but it does have 4 resistances. So that is pretty good, and some Dragon types are really overpowered, and they can even learn moves that they can easily take down on types that it's usually weak against. Some Dragon types are really good, like Garchomp, for example, like Dragonite, Hydreigon. There's so many good ones, but my personal favourite is Rayquaza. I absolutely adore Rayquaza. It is an amazing Pokemon. Its design may not be the greatest of them all, but I definitely think that its power more than makes up for it. And not only that, it has an amazing move pool. And I definitely think that Rayquaza deserves to be highly respected. And then when Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire comes around, guess what are they decided to do with Rayquaza? Give it a Mega Evolution that is so powerful, it is too powerful for banned. So they made an entirely new tier called Anything Goes, which means Rayquaza is the most powerful Pokemon of them all. Some of Rayquaza's best attacks has to be Air Slash, Dragon Pulse, Dragon Dance, Fly, Outrage, Hyper Beam, Draco Meteor, Dragon Ascent, Iron Tail, Iron Head, Water Pulse, Dragon Claw, Ice Beam, Blizzard, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Earthquake, Brick Break, Flamethrower, Rock Tomb, Fire Blast, Aerial Ace, Overheat, Focus Blast, Energy Ball, Shadow Claw, Giga Impact, Stone Edge, and Swords Dance. Like, that is a large variety of moves. Fun fact for you, I actually faced a trainer with a full army of Rayquazas, and guess which Pokemon alone defeated them all? And that was Ash Greninja. And I didn't actually lose a single Pokemon in that battle. So that was pretty good. If you haven't figured out yet, my favourite type is Fire types. Well, I'm pretty sure it's quite obvious due to my channel name, but I thought I might as well just say it anyway. Fire types have 4 types that it's super effective against. It has 3 weaknesses and 6 resistances. That is a pretty impressive lineup if you ask me. And not only that, in the game, anime, and real life, if you have a strong enough fire, it can burn through water, and it can rocks and like dirt won't really do that well at all. Like, if you put on a massive amount of water or a giant rock or enough dirt, then yes, you should be able to put out the fire. But still, with enough of heat source, it can burn through pretty much everything. Some of my favourite fire types are obviously, well, all of the fire type starters apart from Delphox. And there's also quite a few other good ones, such as Houndoom, Arcanine, and many others. But, shock horror, my favourite fire type and favourite Pokemon of all time is Infernape. I'm sure all of you are expecting this, but I might as well just get this out of the way. Infernape is what a Pokemon should be. It has a great design, portrayed in the anime extremely well, and has extremely good stats in my own opinion, apart from defense, but that's expected since it's made to be a sweeper. I know that Infernape is weak to quite a lot of common types. However, if you give it the right moveset, right ability, and EV train it right, you can pretty much take out anything. Let me read off some of Infernape's best moves. Let's see, we've got Close Combat, Flare Blitz, Muck Punch, Flamethrower, Fire Spin, Acrobatics. Let's see, there's Blaze Kick, Fire Punch, Focus Punch, Heat Wave, Power Up Punch, Thunder Punch, Blast Burn, Dual Chop. Ooh, there's Gunk Shot, Iron Tail. There's also like Nasty Plot. There's Hyper Beam, Solar Beam, Earthquake, Brick Break, Aerial Ace, Flame Charge, Overheat, Shadow Claw, and Stone Edge. Even Swords Dance. Like, there's also like Poison Jab and Grass Knot. Like, there is such a large variety of attacks for an Infernape. And I definitely think Infernape deserves more praise than it already gets. My love for Infernape actually starts off with my love for Ash's Chinchar through all of its crap upbringings with Paul. Basically, all Paul wanted with Chinchar was to use its Blaze ability to knock out every single opponent there is. It was treated badly and Paul only wanted it for its power. But when it lost the battle against a Zangoose, it decided to just release it, forget it, and capture a new Fire-type Pokemon. And he did that when he caught a Magmar and then evolved into Magmortar. But Ash stepped in, caught Chimchar, and basically just took over Chimchar's training and made it an absolute monster of a Pokemon. And then finally, Infernape got its own back in the Sinnoh League quarterfinals when it went up against Paul's OP Electivire and took it out with its newly learned Flare Blitz and fully controlled Blaze ability. So, to me, Infernape is practically Ash's MVP of MVPs. If you want a great Infernape in the games, I highly recommend giving it its hidden ability, then max out with speed, attack, and maybe in either a HP or either of the defenses. Doesn't really matter. Then give it the Focus Sash, and then give it the moves Swords Dance, Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, and Muck Punch. That will wreck all of the Pokemon that are on the field. And that is why Infernape is my favourite Pokemon, and Fire types are my favourite type of all time. And there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did, and I hope you're still sticking around to the end, because this was definitely a lot longer than my usual videos, but I thought I might as well give it a try, since the last time I did a very long video was probably my hour-long video of putting Ash's Pokemon from weakest to strongest. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below what your favourite type is and what your favourite Pokemon is from that certain type. And let's see if we can get myself to 100 subscribers before the end of the year. So that way I can do that food challenge that I keep mentioning on this channel. And I'm pretty sure you guys are getting tired of hearing it, but I thought I'd just mention it once again. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, share this video with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel. It's been Inferno today. Okay, that's all from me, so until the next time, this is Infernape, signing off. Bye!